So, we all have dreams and ambitions, right? I'm an entrepreneur now, but when I went to Singapore at the age of 18 to do my undergrad, I did not want to become an entrepreneur. I wanted to become an investment banker. Growing up, that's what I dreamt of. I did multiple internships in investment banking companies, took courses in economics, accounting, finance, did everything possible to land a job in an investment bank. And why? It wasn't so much about the money, it was so much about the power and the leverage and the impact that I thought I could have by being a banker. So this was September 2008. Final year, I have almost landed a job in this big investment bank backed by Goldman Sachs. And this is what happens. Lehman Brothers crashes. Everybody is face palming. I don't have a picture of me face palming. If it was there, it's much bigger than this. And the company that offered me a job rescinded the job. They said, look, there are no more opportunities here. You would have to come back at some point of time. I was devastated. I was frustrated. The closest analogy that I can give you is, you enter the college, and on the first day, you fall in love with this girl. And you have this awesome relationship for the next 7 semesters, right? And then the placements happen. She gets a job, you don't get a job, you get dumped. That's how I felt, right? So what do you do when life gives you lemons? People would say, make lemonade. I told them, throw it back at them, right? I wasn't gutsy enough to burn the house with lemonades, but still I said, I'm going to figure out a way by which I would still be useful to this world. Around the same time, I started reading this book called Creating a World Without Poverty. Now, I wasn't so much enamored by the title. You know, I wasn't a big believer in poverty alleviation, but I was enamored by the subtitle, The Future of Capitalism. I was intrigued, what was this guy talking about? And for people who don't know who he is Dr. Muhammad Yunus, the father of microcredit. Microcredit essentially is providing small loans to rural poor who don't have access to a bank, right? In a ways by which they can pay back over a period of time. And this man challenged every baggage that I had in my mind about poverty and poor people. This man showed us that the poor can be enterprising, the poor can be resilient, the poor can be incredibly patient. And this was fascinating to me because all along I have been thinking of totally different things and I learned something different. So, you know, I went to my dad and I said, I'm going to drop out of college. I'm going to take a year off, go back to India, work with an NGO, try to understand what this is. I just want to feel useful. The whole need to be powerful was replaced by the eagerness to be useful in this world. As an investment banker, one thing that you learn very well is cold call and email. So I started cold calling a lot of NGOs. None of them were interested. I was 21. I mean, they were like 21-year-old from Singapore. Either he is young or he is naive or young and naive or he doesn't know what he is up to. Except for one organization which took me in. I was interviewed by 2 Americans which worked to my advantage and whose prerequisites were, will you be able to speak in Telugu and Hindi, languages I barely understood and spoke. Like any self-respecting Indian, I said, I'm fluent in both. And I landed the job. So here I was working in rural Orissa along with my boss. If you are lucky, you end up with an auto seat like this. If you're not so lucky, you get a triple seat in a TVS stamp. And my role was very simple. My role was to work with people who have got these micro loans and understand, have they benefited from this? There was a lot of hype about whether is it benefiting them, is it not benefiting them, and so on. And my role was basically go around the country with big survey forms, asking people questions, taking those surveys, come back, make meaningful insights. And along the way, I learned a lot. I actually could correlate with what Dr. Yunus and others had said. The poor are incredibly enterprising. They're incredibly aspiring. And they're just like us. You know, they are funky, they are quirky, they are humorous. So this entire connotation of us versus them kind of went the moment I was on the field. But it wasn't as rosy as the world set out to believe. 450 million Indians, that's roughly 1/3 of this population, do not have access to electricity. And I'm not taking into account 8-hour power cuts as not access to electricity. I'm talking about people who don't have access to electric lines. This is what their state is. You know, kerosene lamps. They pay 15 rupees through the government PDS system and pay 45 rupees in black market just to have something like this in the evenings. And it wasn't a question of they were inaccessible or they weren't being able to be reached or anything. 7 kilometers away was this huge power plant in Orissa, Baripada, which was providing electricity to entire Jharkhand, half of West Bengal and parts of Orissa. And here these people do not have access to electricity. The infrastructure has failed. 1 in 2 of us do not have access to clean drinking water. This is the state that you will commonly see in India if you had ever gone to rural India. A study had actually said an average rural woman walks 14,000 kilometers a day every year in merely fetching water. And put together, it is the entire productivity of France. Imagine an entire productivity of France basically used in fetching water. And in some cases, we have government systems which have failed. There are connections but no water. And in other systems, you have kids who are basically trying to fetch as much water as possible. This was particularly emotional for me because this kid, the cans that you see were basically used for fetching kerosene. Couple of weeks back, they were using it for fetching kerosene, and now they are using the same cans to fetch water. And I go and ask the mom, what's wrong with you? You're taking water in kerosene. And she says, water, you get it only when you get it. You will have to fill as much as possible. 60% of India's BOP income is spent on healthcare expenses. And healthcare doesn't mean, you know, diabetes and sugar and BP, that all, you know, the first world problems that we share. This is basically about E. coli, schistosoma, I suck at biology, but it's essentially a fancy word for worms. Hepatitis, right? 80% of all diseases that occur in rural India are because of lack of clean water and safe sanitation. So it wasn't just about access, it was also about awareness. Now, look at this household very closely. Thatched roof, no concrete, no toilets, no water connection, nothing. But you will find a DTH. Who provided the DTH? The government gives 1,600 rupees worth of gadget to every household. And if half of that money could be spent in providing basic nutrition or healthcare related expenses, you know, situation could have changed. So awareness was also an equally issue. Solutions, it's not as depressing as I tried to make it out to be. I just wanted to get your attention, that's it. The solutions are available. The solutions are being proven. A light, you know, which costs just 1,000 rupees that works on a solar powered charger can provide light for a family of 5, you know, for the next 5 years. Access to clean water is as simple as a 3,000 rupee water connection to your house so that you don't have to fetch water. So there were solutions and there were challenges, but rural India has its own way of solving those. This is uniquely Desi. This is the ideal situation. You have a van, you optimize the routes, you go and sell the products. But this is the reality. You basically take the products in a horse cart. I have done this and I have gone through, rural Orissa trying to, sell these products. The community is incredibly encouraging. People came up with their own materials, sand, gravel, etc., just to build their own toilets because they have never had a toilet in their lives. Local electricians wanted to be part of this in, fixing up solar powered systems. Healthcare camps were conducted in the community schools, which was essentially a partnership with the panchayat. So the community was incredibly encouraging. What they needed was an opportunity. A loan changes everything. So it creates jobs. So here there were, someone talked about 600 million people who had never gone to college. Even if they have access to those colleges, they would never be able to pay the tuition fees. What people want is not college degree, people want jobs. People do not want to be farmers all their lives. People want to get into semi-skilled and skilled services. And vocational training programs help you do that. This is Wasim, 18-year-old, 10th class pass in Dharwad. He couldn't go to college. He went through this 7,000 rupee program that taught him basic fluency and other skills. And today he's an assistant cashier in Aditya Moore. Earns 7,000 rupees. Creating assets. The same woman who was under kerosene, just a 500 rupee solar light. Look at the difference that it makes in our lives. Similarly for water. Creating awareness, right? So you do these long camps and you do it visually. There is a right way to defecate and there is a wrong way to defecate. And this has to be pictorially shown to the people. So there were solutions, there were incredibly great organizations working on the ground. And I was, this entire 1 year that I spent, I was totally blown away by what I saw on the ground. And I was like, what can I do? I went back to Singapore and I wanted to raise money because I knew organizations were there on the ground doing incredible stuff. But the problem was, I went to my friends and I said, guys, this is what I want to do. Could you put some money? They had a problem with the charity model. They were like, yeah, right, I could put you some money, but, charity doesn't appeal to us because, it's a big black box. It goes somewhere, I don't know who benefits. I don't know where it goes, how much goes to the programs, how much goes to other expenses. I'm not little comfortable. So before I go next, how many of you have actually given your time, given your money, whatever, right? Let me just pick one. Vignesh, whom did you give? Whom did you give? Nikhil, whom did you give? Names. Why did you give? You felt there was a need. Why? Some of the other reasons. Why do you people donate money? It's your hard-earned money. Why do you donate it? You pay taxes. Make a difference. So whom did you give it to, sir? Yeah. Do you know what specific program? Yes. So there are very few programs and very few things that you can actually, remember. The problem with today's charity model is, I give some money, I feel good about it. And there is nothing wrong about feeling good about it. You have to feel good about doing good. But the question is, think about the other person. Is he benefiting, right? And that's what giving is about. Giving is not about you writing off some money for something and forgetting about it. And that's where what we believe is to reinvent charity, make it more personal and in the sense, not giving, engaged giving. So I said, okay, how do we do it? The first point was, okay, people have a problem with how much money goes to the end person. I said, 100% of the money will go to the end person. Whatever people put in, 100% will go into the end person. This was kind of tricky because there wasn't anyone in this country trying to do that. And the ones that are doing it in the US, Robin Hood Foundation, Water.org, Charity Water, they're all big organizations. And here I was completely broke. I had no scholarship money. I was maxing my father's credit cards to pay for my expenses. So we said, fine, we create 2 bank accounts. The public money goes to borrowers. We'll find private funders who will fund my food, clothing, shelter, and so on. So that 100% of your money goes to the end person. The second one was proof, right? People wanted to know where the money was going. So we said, we are going to build an online platform which gives you the information of whom you are lending to. It gives you the chance, it gives you the opportunity to choose an individual, choose a cause, choose a location. You can see whom you are lending to, you will know the terms of the loan. And it's a loan, not a donation, so the money will come back to you. The third one was, we wanted everyone to be part of this. I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to build a boutique services firm serving few HNIs. We wanted to change the way India gives. 10 years ago, there came a site called Make My Trip. It changed the way India traveled. 3 years ago, there came a site called Flipkart. It's changing the way India shops. We want to be the Flipkart of giving. And that's an ambitious statement, but that's how we want to look at it. And to do that, you have to build a brand. You know, brand is a pretty dirty word in non-profit space, you know. Why do you want to spend in marketing? Why do you want to create, you know, all this, you know, it's not non-profit, but we were never a non-profit. We did not behave like a charity. We wanted to be an organization that believes in doing good in a sustainable way. Today, what do, right? We don't want giving to be a part of, you know, okay, it's my birthday, let me just give money. We want giving to be a part of your social experience. You go out shopping, you go out dining, you go out, you know, having a deal. I mean, we want giving to be integrated with all these systems. And so it began. On June 16, 2010, I was barely out of college. I was an anti-social in college, so, you know, I had very little friends, so I didn't know how to raise money, so we just put up a talk in the heart of Singapore and tried to raise money. 55 people came in, they listened to our talk, they saw the stories, they pitched in around $3,000. The other $3,000, I maxed out of my father's credit card. By the way, this is an advice to you. Never use a 24% credit card loan to give out a 0% interest-free loan, okay? I did it because I had no choice. Took the money to Osmanabad, helped entrepreneurs who were building healthcare programs, who were building solar lights, who were, you know, selling solar lights, cook stoves, and so on. And over a period of a year, they had an income increase of 7x. And we sent these stories back to the people who put in money. Now, half of them did not even realize that they put in money. They were like, what money? And I said, look, we organized a talk. You came in, you put in that $50. You said, you will hold me accountable if I don't pay you. The money is back. And they were like, this is awesome, you know. A small amount can go a long way. Then we started looking at creative ways of fundraising. You know, 4 employees from Barclays came and they said, hey, we want to help you. How about? And I said, I don't know. Go ahead, do your thing. And they said, okay, we are cycling. Let's cycle for clean water. And they said the initial goal was $1,200. I said, good luck. Nobody knows Milaap, and you're going to cycle for clean water, raise $1,200. Great. They raised $5,300 in 7 days. It's not Milaap. It's not Milaap. It's about you as an individual going out, telling your personal story of a Shantabai or a Rama Devi or a, you know, Chinnammal requiring a water or an education loan. We are mere facilitators. Today we have touched 4,000 lives. We have deployed close to 80 lakh rupees in the past 8 months. But that's a golf clap. Our target is to reach 1 million lives by 2015. And if we don't do this, there's no purpose in me spending my best years of 20s working. The motivation for us is to create impact on a large scale. And if we don't, there's no point. Couple of things that we learned over a period of time: guilt versus opportunity. Never use guilt as a factor to get money from people. So when I came back from Singapore, my friend raised a birthday party and he took us to this Muthu's Curry $40 buffet. And I was like, $40? Dude, an entire family can eat for 1 month. And that's the last time I spoke to him, right? People spend money, because it's their money. It's their hard-earned money. So don't use as a guilt trappings. Don't use these socialist, leftist messages. Rather try to figure out, if this guy is spending $40 for a lunch, how do I, inspire him to give $4 of that? How do I inspire him to give $8 of that? Last year around the same time, I wrote this blog post, very angered that no one was aware about World Toilet Day. Millions are dying to do what you did this morning. I wanted to be a pun on it. And my marketing manager just set up this other page, which said, like us on Facebook or, tweet about us, and for every like or, tweet, 25 cents will go out to that borrower. That guy got 1,000 fans in 3 days. I got, 0 mentions. Broadcast your failure. I mean, one of the biggest problems with NGOs and social enterprises is they all talk about the rosy things. Oh, we are saving the world. There is no poverty in 15 years, blah, blah, blah. It's incredibly difficult. So this was the hope. When we were selling solar lights in rural Orissa, we wanted to get, so the solar lights also have charges. So the charges come in a separate pack and the lights come in a separate pack. So this was the hope. And what we got was polyvinyl, I suck at organic chemistry, so some PVC stuff. Because distribution is broken, things are broken, you need to tell your story to the outside world, say, we failed, we'll work hard the next time. Finally, your story should be told in a tweet, not short and sweet, in a tweet. I have seen number of organizations spinning their heads trying to explain what they are trying to do. For us, it's a very simple story. 100 million households in this country do not have access to basic services. A small loan can go a long way. Let me see how good my story is right now. Ponder. Volume. just finish with a simple quote. If not us, then who? If not now, in this incredible moment in the history of mankind where anything is possible, then when? Thank you.